Hey there, Shankar. How are you? Are you there?
I've been trying to say hi to Shankar for ages.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's having a morning coffee. What time is it at the moment?
Oh, there's everybody. Yeah, Shankar should be fine. It's what, about 1:30 in the afternoon, 2 o'clock.
1:30 in the afternoon. Okay, great.
Or maybe it's maybe 12:30. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the first part of our meeting, which gives you the opportunity to break the ice a little bit. I know we're all in different time zones at the moment, so it's a good opportunity to get to know one another. I just wanted to say good afternoon, good morning, and good day to all of our members. Thank you for joining us. And also our honoured guests. It's lovely to have you here for the third part of our three-part Globinar series, which is focused on business culture and doing business across Japan, Australia, and the United Kingdom. My name is Katie Keith, and I'm the Executive Director for the Global Chamber here in London. And I'm joined by my colleague, Kirsty Wilkinson, who's the Executive Director for Global Chamber in Melbourne, and also the founder at Asia Market Makers. Hi, Kirsty.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for the welcome.
Welcome. And I'm also joined by my other colleague, Doug, who is our CEO and founder of the Global Chamber. Good morning. I know it's very early morning for you, Doug. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
I just wanted to give you a little bit of background for those who have been following the series, watched the recordings. I know a lot of people have been tapping in to watch recordings because of the time zone differences. But Kirsty and I have been working closely with one another over the past few months to pull this educational and informative series together, focused on understanding business culture and doing business better across the three regions. And the main objectives of why we wanted to do the series is because we obviously have very strong personal ties across the three countries. But also we wanted to help and give our business communities the opportunity to learn how to enter markets, new markets, in a meaningful way by understanding the cultural aspects of doing business. We also wanted to help people do business better and uncover opportunities in a more effective way. And on top of that, we also wanted to explore the pitfalls of doing business globally, because all of us in the room know there are a lot of pitfalls and we need to be better prepared for those in the future. So with all of those objectives in mind, we're really pleased to say the event series has been quite a success, because we've learnt that and more from all of our experts that have joined us and supported us to bring this to life. And actually, Kirsty and Doug and I have been working on some amazing opportunities that have been emerging as a result of the series, and we look forward to collaborating with many of you on future projects. So on that note, I do want to introduce and thank all of our esteemed panelists who have joined us here today. We're going to have the opportunity to talk to them, to meet them, to network with them, and also ask them a few questions. So covering event one, where we explored business culture, the norms and storms, we have with us today Victoria Reynoldson, who's the English and Communication and Culture Coach, founder and director of Perfect Cuppa English. Hi, Victoria. Welcome. We also have, We also have Kirsty Wilkinson, who's my colleague and Exec Director for Global Chamber Melbourne and founder of Asia Market Makers, who also contributed to our panel discussion. Hi, Kirsty.
Hi, Katie.
And it's good to also have Haruna McWilliams, Head of Accounts at Tokyo Airs. Hi, Haruna.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And Dominique Carter, who Representative Director and CEO of the Carter Group, who all contributed to an amazing panel discussion on business culture. We could have spoke for days. It's good to have you here too, Dominique.
Nice to see you all.
And covering our second part of the Globinar series, where we explored trade opportunities and business opportunities. And also we covered off the pitfalls as well. We have with us today Richard Cuda, who's Head of Asia Pacific and Emerging Markets at International Investment Services. Hi, Richard. Good morning to you. Hope you didn't have too many train issues this morning.
Good morning. A little bit. Trains cancelled, but to be expected as we start going back into the office. But pleasure to join you today.
Yeah, thanks for coming. The reality of hybrid working, guys, I think we're all experiencing that at the moment. I'd also like to welcome with us today Sally Townsend, who's Commissioner at Department of Trade, Tourism and Investment, Government of South Australia. And also Sally is the Chair of the Australia-New Zealand Chamber of Commerce in Japan. Hi, Sally. Welcome.
Hi, Katie. Thanks for having me back again.
Thank you. And Ziv Nakajima Majen, Partner and Executive Manager at Nippon Tradings International. Good to have you back, Ziv.
Hey, good to be here again. And good to see Doug and Yael face to face finally.
Yeah, it's good. You've got some lovely people to see. And also apologies for Christina Marino, who's Head of Travel and Hospitality for South Japan. She's not feeling very well today, so she's not able to join us in the final part of our discussion. But I just wanted to say this series would not have been a success without you guys, because you've shared your valuable insights. We're looking forward to bringing that together today. So I just want everybody to give a virtual round of applause for all of these guys. Thank you very much. And for those of you who are new to joining us here at Global Chamber, and I know we have a few new visitors today, we're delighted to welcome you to our community of global business leaders. We're in 190 countries and close to 525 metros around the world, and we're all here to connect and grow with one another. And many of our members here at Global Chamber are looking to expand their operations abroad, invest in global projects. They're looking at importing and exporting their goods and services in a much more productive way. And they're also looking at recruiting and moving talent around the world. But most importantly, what I see from our members is people that want to come and do business better and more effectively. So whatever brings you to our community, we get you and we're here to help. And in the next hour, in the next part of the rest of the hour, sorry, we're going to be having a bit of fun. And most importantly, we're going to be connecting you with one another. So today is really an important part of the series where we actually get to see each other, we get to talk to each other, and we get to reflect on some of the key points of how we do business and how we understand business culture, in particular across the 3 countries. So we're going to have a few business breakouts. You've already experienced those this morning, so you wouldn't be unfamiliar with what's going to happen. We have about 20 of us on the call today, so it's a good number to break out into small groups, have meaningful conversations, explore opportunities to collaborate with one another. And also we will be bringing back to the main room here to share and spotlight some of the opportunities that have occurred. So we're going to get started now. And I would like to start by spotlighting some of our speakers. And I'm just going to find my agenda. So I'd like to start with Richard, actually. So Richard, I just wanted to spotlight you for a moment with the audience and give us an opportunity to talk about some of the key insights that you found or you would like to share from the event series around how uncovering business opportunities and bringing them to life is important for people looking to do business in the UK and across the different regions.
Yeah, I'll just kind of give you some insights just about what's kind of happening in the market. We're seeing that things are definitely opening up again post-COVID. We think that people are going to be starting to travel again with a vengeance to make up for lost time. So if you are in a position where you are looking to unlock opportunities, you are going to be advantaged if you can actually start to come and visit people in person as opposed to doing it remotely. So I'd recommend that, particularly early in the new year, people consider that. Also, as well, in terms of the 2 regions that we're looking at, Australia and Japan, as shared in previous sessions, the UK is really positioning itself towards the Pacific moving forward. So with the rollover of the EU free trade agreement with Japan, obviously the announcement of the Australia-UK free trade agreement, there's going to be a lot of focus there and a lot of will, not just in terms of the businesses on either side, but also politically to do more business between the countries. We've definitely seen from Japan that has increased in terms of foreign direct investment in the UK, but we're also seeing it as well with Australia pick up. So while you might not have heard too many Australian accents or seen too many Japanese business people around in the city, we're expecting that to change in the new year.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think that was one of the key themes, is that things are changing and just we need to be ahead of the curve when it comes to that. And Richard, did you want to remind everybody a little bit more about what you do at International Investment Services to help businesses?
Yeah, thanks for that. So we are international investment specialists. We help businesses expand abroad. really helping the bulk of our work is usually in the US and the Asia Pacific into the UK, particularly Australia. However, we do help UK businesses go the other way. There's really no secret to the name. It perfectly describes what we do. We essentially handhold businesses into new market, and we will do all the logistical parts, such as which market should I go to, setting up in country, so registering a company, organizing the taxes and employment contracts and so forth, all the way to hopefully the stage where they do quite well and they look to expand further or even exit.
Fantastic. And I think that having that support along the way is critical in making it work long term. And that was one of the things that came up, is it's not a short-term approach, it's a long-term approach. So you need to do a lot of forward planning and understanding of how to bring the business forward. So that's quite interesting. And I did want to now jump over to another panelist. And Sally, I'd like to call on you, because this is really focused on those business opportunities. You know, if you'd like to just share a little bit more about the work that you're doing over in Japan at the moment, and also what were your key insights from the event series that you could share with others that are on the call today?
Thanks, Kirsty. So, yeah, I'm in Japan. As you can see, I'm sitting in front of a sign that says South Australia. And what my role is to facilitate trade from Japan into South Australia and investment into South Australia and trade out. So it's been really, my office has been open for 2.5 years. Which has been excellent timing for South Australian exporters who are already in market or who've wanted to diversify into the Japan market. Because, can you hear me okay? Yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, right. Sorry, your face is leaning in like that, so I thought, oh, maybe I'm on mute and just talking away to myself. So yeah, it's been fortuitous for those companies to have someone on the ground. So a lot of the work I've been doing is really representing those companies that have partners in market here, and keeping those relationships going and that kind of thing, and obviously helping companies enter the market, because as you probably know, a lot of Australian companies, and particularly South Australian wineries, were really sending a huge amount of what they were producing into the China market. So that all kind of went pear-shaped, and they're looking at the Japan market now. So that's what I do. And with investment as well, I don't know if you can see, probably not a lot on my sign, it's down further, but we are a great producer of renewable energy in South Australia. So we're getting a huge amount of interest regarding renewable energy projects, and the potential for hydrogen to be exported from South Australia to Japan is incredible. So there'll be an announcement at COP26 tomorrow with Japan's Ministry of Environment and a project that they're funding in South Australia. So it's been really exciting, and I've had to learn a lot about a number of different sectors that I was very unfamiliar with 2 years ago. But through our event last week, I think it was terrific to exchange information on how people, what they're doing in each market, because each market is very different. My market over here in Japan is very different from the UK. I also cover Korea, completely different from here again. So it's terrific to get that information, how people are approaching market entry, how business people are operating. They can move around here. No one can come in really. They've just decreased the quarantine time to 3 days for business travellers. This was announced, I think, 3 days ago. But it really hasn't been an environment conducive to business travel, or people coming over from overseas. So it's great to hear how things are going in other markets.
Yeah, and it's good to hear that things are starting to ease a little bit more. And we actually have a few people in the UK that are from Japan working here and living here, which we'll hear from a little bit later, that are obviously being impacted by that as well. So, you know, I think they're it's one of the considerations to think of. And thinking about wine, actually, Sally, it is Christmas time. And I'm just, you know, I think that there's a lot of focus on wine at the moment here and getting those imports in straight away.
Well, yeah, and I know there's a lot of, from what I see from the UK office, the UK South Australia office, there's a huge amount going on with South Australian wines in the UK market. So thanks to all of you calling in from the UK today. Keep drinking up. South Australia, that's what you've got to look for on the label. Barossa Valley, McLaren Vale, those terrific areas. Thanks for the support.
That's why I love being a part of the South Australia Club here in the UK, because I get great wine. Even though I'm from New South Wales, they let me in somehow. And one of the perks of being a part of the South Australia Club is that the wine and the events are amazing. So just a little plug for you guys.
Great to hear. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. And I wanted to sort of come over to Ziv now, because we're sort of covering off that business opportunity, and then we'll open up for some Q&A. I'll spotlight some of our guests on the call today, and then we'll break out in some rooms and we'll come back and talk about culture and bring it together. So Ziv, I know, just remind people a little bit about who you are and what you do, and also some of the opportunities that are presenting themselves as a result of the event series. I know COVID really hasn't impacted your business as well, so it'll be interesting to hear about how you get about that.
Sure. So my name is Ziv Nakajimam again. I feel I'm kind of connected to about 30% of the population because I was born in Israel, lived in Australia, and now living in Japan. So except the UK, I'm probably, I got a hand in all of you. And been living here for about 9 years now. And my partner and I, we represent foreigners who are active in Japan's real estate market. So whether they're residing in Japan or out of Japan, for whatever reason, they can't physically participate in purchase and management, or they don't have the language skills or the bandwidth, or they just find it difficult to communicate with Japanese realtors and other professionals for any reason. So we bridge the gap for them, and we also bridge the gap for the Japanese companies who need to work with them because they're sometimes a little bit foreigner shy as well. So mainly we focus on investment properties and holiday homes, occasionally land for development, commercial properties, whatever anyone's interested. Family homes, people are usually okay to work directly with realtors, but anything else.
And what was your key takeout from the series so far, Ziv? Anything that you could share from your key insights?
It was really interesting to see how different sectors of each and every economy has been affected differently by COVID. Obviously, a lot of people are in pain, but for a lot of other types of businesses, this has been a huge opportunity. I know that we've been actually benefiting a fair bit, or at least our investor clients have been benefiting a fair bit from this crisis, and because prices have been softer. And I think it really hammered home for a lot of companies and people that I've been talking to. And again, on this panel, we touched about this on the last session we had, how remote business is really a thing. Even if it was a sort of a nice to have, it's not only a must to have, it's just opened people's eyes. And that was the silver lining of this whole crisis. I mean, we've been remote from the get-go because our customers are 80% of them remote, but we've seen a lot of companies and business people, whether willingly or you know, dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century, but a lot of them have adopted this, and it's been good to see.
Very interesting. As we're sort of coming through that next phase of the pandemic now, where we're looking at hybrid working and a lot of other things coming about. So it'd be interesting to see how we move forward as businesses in different regions around the world. And on that note, I just wanted to say thanks for sharing your insights now. I'd love to now bring in the attendees and just get a feel for any questions that might be emerging as a result of that business generation. And I might even spotlight a couple of you to introduce yourselves, because you've come to visit us today, you've been following the series, so it would be lovely to learn a little bit more about you. So I'd love to, Akiko, I only met you yesterday, but do you have any questions for the panelists, or would you like to introduce yourself first and then any questions?
Is it okay for me to do the introduction myself? Just
Absolutely.
quickly? Yeah, okay. So, hello everybody. My name is Akiko Sugata Bonso. I'm Japanese, and I've been living in Europe for more than 20 years. Currently, my base is in Paris, France, and my business is a business intermediary between Japanese companies and UK EU companies. I do business helping business communications, helping mainly trading the Japanese companies, helping Japanese companies trade with UK EU companies and vice versa. And my event is coming in 10 days, next week, Friday. I'm organizing every month this event, inviting 5-6 Japanese companies and 5-6 European UK companies, and bilingual, 2.5 hours. I do interpretation and translation services, and everybody meets, do that a presentation followed by Q&A, and also at the end, breakout rooms to get, and also I give you 45 minutes complimentary consultation. So this is a sort of whole package, and this is more like I want to find people who are designate with me, who can collaborate with me for a bit longer time. And also you can find quite often a good connection, as probably, you know, this event, same as this event. So I would like to, you know, just give you one-to-one to explain more details. So anybody is interested in this, please get in touch, please. I put my address on the chat. I would like to have get connection via LinkedIn. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Akiko. It's very interesting to learn more about your business. Thank you.
Yes.
And I think that ties in quite nicely to helping companies to do business better. It's really good to spotlight some of you to learn more about you. What we're going to do now is we're going to break out into some rooms where we can learn more about each other one-to-one. Then we'll come back, we'll be hearing from more of our panelists and go into more Q&A and discussion. So just for the next, you've only got about 5 minutes or so, so make the most of it. Talk about who you are, what you do, give everybody a chance to speak, and we'll see you back here very shortly.
Hello.
Hi, Yuka. It's like magic and we all return. Welcome back, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. I really enjoyed our conversation. I was in a room with Dominic and Akiko, and we were just talking about our, what brought us to be living in a completely different country. Dominic's in Japan, Akiko's in Paris, I'm in London, and it was just an amazing synergy in terms of how we all come to be and where we are in our journey. So I hope that you all have been having interesting conversations. Would anyone else like to share any of the emerging themes or conversations that are happening in your breakout rooms?
And we've got the property connection going with Erica. Is she here? She's not here.
Well, I saw that. I knew straight away that you and Eric.
Yes. Yes, I am here. Yes,
I was going to ask Sally. We were talking about hydrogen and Australia, hopefully marketing some renewable energy to Japan. But I've just read that they're planning to kick off the nuclear reactors again. Was that right?
Yes and no.
Okay,
this will be
good.
the nuclear this will be the submarines you're talking about. I think. Yes.
Okay. If you might
nuclear
be
submarines
here. Yeah, Sally, there's a bit of news breaking here in the UK that they're going to be putting mini nuclear reactors around the UK for power sources.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
very, very cleanest form.
Yeah, it is in terms of, what we can pick from the bunch.
Yeah, it's just a hard sell.
It is. It just broke the news last night. So it's an interesting conversation over here at the moment, and it'd be interesting to see how that unfolds. But I just wanted to say, this is a really good opportunity. We're going to be spotlighting some of our panelists and we're talking about the business culture. And then I'm going to be spotlighting a lot of our guests in the room today because we really want to know who you are. So it's going to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself today because this is all about getting to know each other and uncovering opportunities. I knew that Ziv and Erica would definitely needed to chat today, but I know that there's plenty of other synergies in the room and I'm looking forward to bringing those to life. So I would like to now call on some of our panelists just to share a bit more about what you do, how you're adding value, but also some of your key insights from the event series, just to share with us and just to open up the conversation. I am going to pick on you first, Victoria, because you are in my line of sight. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your insights about how you're working with your clients at the moment. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Katie. So hello, everybody. I'm Victoria Reynoldson. My business is Perfect Cuppa English, and I'm an English communication and British culture coach. And what I do is I work with international executives and I work with HR teams to support their talent. And I'm helping them in the space of helping their people to communicate more effectively in English in their specific business situations. And that's incredibly important whether people are remote working, hybrid working, working across large international teams, expanding into the UK, so that people really do communicate well and in English and also connect well, build great relationships, and at the end of the day, deliver the results. So that's kind of really where I focus. And two aspects, really. It's all about the communication aspect, but also the British cultural insight. And that's particularly relevant for people who are expanding their business in the UK, working with British customers or clients. And I think it's particularly important because sometimes there's this assumption that we, as English speakers, people, perhaps British culture is very similar to US and Australian culture, and definitely there are similarities, but there are also some really key differences and nuances to understand, which if you don't understand it, then it actually can lead to some miscommunication, misjudgments, and actually business not going through. So it really does have hard business impacts. I work with people in private coaching programs, but also in training workshops for companies to help people really understand aspects of this. And I think, Katie, you were kind of asking about the key insights from the series. When we had our first session, I think the key thing that I was really taking out was that, and I see this emerging as well, talking to my clients, is that clearly we've all now very used to kind of remote working and connecting in this way. And it's brilliant that, you know, for example, in Global Chamber, we have loads of nationalities represented here and we're communicating effectively together. But, you know, sometimes we don't realize and we assume that we understand what's really going on when perhaps we don't. And we have to remember that we always see the world through our pair of glasses. And sometimes other people are looking at the world in a different way with their pair of glasses. And if we don't understand that, we may misjudge, we may miscommunicate, and that can actually cause problems. So we do, you know, cultural dynamics, national cultural dynamics are incredibly important. When it comes to understanding some of those similarities and differences, it's not about saying, you know, there's a right or a wrong way to do things. It's just difference. And it's just about, you know, we have to understand this, work with this, and plan with this if we want to be successful. So that was kind of one of the big insights that I took out from our particular part of the series.
Yeah, Victoria, that was really well aligned to what my key insight was as well. And I really loved our conversation around what does no mean, what does yes really mean, and just the simplicity of it all and how complicated it really is as well. So we think it's simple, but it's really quite complicated. And I think that you've just covered that quite nicely. And I want to go over to Dominique, actually, who really, just to sort of extend on that, we had a great conversation off the back of what Victoria was saying about what your experience has been in Japan as an Australian living there as well. And it'd be great to hear more about who you are and what you do, and love to hear your thoughts on that too.
Sure. Well, I had a meeting yesterday in Kobe with this guy, and he just said, we were talking about something, he said, oh, people are different. And I'm like, yeah, people are different. And that's why I have a business. I'm a consumer researcher. We work with companies that are interested in entering the market. We basically scope out what their opportunity is, and we work with them most importantly on the adaptation piece of what they're doing, because there are a lot of differences usually in the way that not only the sort of the characteristics and contours of the market, but also the way that people make decisions in Japan and the way that they appraise quality and you know, become predisposed to do business with you is quite different here. So we do all of the type of work that's required to sort of get you up to speed with that. So that could be, you know, desk research or, you know, design research, human-centric design, these sorts of projects to ensure that what it is that you are successful within your home market will also be successful in Japan. I do want to say, though, I actually found what Victoria was saying extremely interesting when we did our session for a number of reasons, which is like, I'm so used to dealing with big differences. So in Japan, there's Japan and then there's Gaikoku, right? So there's Japan and there's foreign, and foreign is this and Japan is this. But to sort of think about what those nuances of difference are, even between two cultures that are as similar as Australia and the UK, I thought was kind of fascinating. And then the other thing I thought was fascinating was actually how similar the British and the Japanese are in some ways. So these kind of discussions about, you know, what yes really, does yes mean yes and does no mean no? And I didn't really think that British people sort of, I had to think about that kind of nuance. But now I realize, yes, I've been very politely chastised and brushed off many times over the years with my British counterparts.
The trick is to know when it's happening, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So so I'm on the lookout now. But yeah, I just thought that was fascinating, just to sort of, you know, really even within, you know, very similar cultures to understand that. So I feel I actually learned quite a bit from Victoria on our call. So thank you.
Thanks, Dominic. And I did too, actually. But what's really come up for me, and I think it is, you don't have to be an expert in all of this, right? You just need to know who the experts are and seek out help when you need it. Like, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know who knows what to do and seek out. And that's why it's so great to have you all in the room today, because I've just realized I know so little. I know so little, but just by having a conversation with you and seeking out your support, it's just taught me so much. So really good point to raise there. And I would like to hear from a couple more of our panelists, and then we're going to go around the room and we're going to learn more about all of you. So Haruna, I'd love to hear more about you and what you do, but also what were your key insights from the series?
Sure, thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. I'm Haruna again. I currently have a couple of different hats that I put on. So one is, as you can see, my profile name. I work for a company called Tokyo-esque, which is a market research agency. And our motto is to leverage cultural differences to drive your business's growth. And what I mean by that is, you know, just as it's been said so far already, the little differences or even the differences that you didn't know exist can have impact on your business. So we have clients who come to us and say that they have, for instance, a wonderful website in English that's been working really well in the UK and maybe in the US. And they have translated it already, usually through an intern or external translator, and come to us saying, something is not working right. So when we take a look, it's usually not the home page, but hidden in the second or the third layer, for instance, customer service page or FAQ page that is just not up to standard for the Japanese consumers, for instance. And that's because Japanese people want to do their own homework before they reach out to others for help. They don't just come to you for help without doing their own research first. So if you don't give them as a business that research material for them, you've already missed the mark from the get-go. So things like this, people don't realize, and you know, it could be a more technical issue such as payment system that you're not ready for, line pay, PayPay, things like that that are popular in Japan. But more on the psychological, emotional, cultural side of differences that we try to focus. And we try to come up with implications for your business, whether you're just entering into the Japanese market, just exporting to Japan, or trying to expand your business that's already there. Personally, this is perfect for me because I was in the breakout room earlier talking to a few people there as well. But I'm originally from Japan, despite my family name. That's not a Japanese name. I grew up in the Netherlands, and so I have returned as an adult back in the Netherlands now. I'm based in Amsterdam. But in between, I worked in UK, US, and Singapore. So I've seen a lot of different cultures, obvious differences, but also the subtle nuances, and that puts me in the position to do what I do, hopefully well. Now, from the previous session, similarly to Dom's takeaway, I always find it very interesting how similar UK and Japan are. And Japanese people would always tell you it's because we're an island country, right? Could be true, maybe not, but there is this sort of village mentality, you're with us or you're not with us. So once you're with us, part of the village, so to speak, then you share everything. We have a term in Japanese called hadaka no kankei, which is literally translated as naked relationship, right? So that's when you, for instance, find yourself in an onsen, in a hot spring with your client, and you're literally naked. So once you've spent time like that with your client and drank some sake maybe as well, then you're part of the village, you're part of the peer. And then from that point on, the trust level just skyrockets. So I've had a couple of instances, just like Victoria mentioned earlier, having worked remotely for this long. The other day I was in Germany and I was talking to a potential client of ours who met the rest of his team for the first time physically in 2 years or something like that. Some of them were new. And he kept on saying, wow, I never thought this person was like this. Or I never thought that this person was actually quite senior. I thought she was a junior. So all these comments started flying out, and I thought that was amazing. And coming from a creative agency background as well, that different people with different backgrounds coming together under one roof and just throwing ideas with each other's. I think that's something that we've been missing for the last 2 years. And I hope to see more of that happen.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Haruna, and really strong points there. And having lived across the different countries has obviously given you those skills and qualities that allow you to do your role really well. And so that's quite nice. And thank you very much for sharing. And Kirsty, I wanted to bring you to the spotlight now, just to share your key insights and to share a little bit more. Well, I'm mindful we've got 5 minutes left of the meeting today, and I want to get around to a few of you. So please bear with us. And Kirsty's going to be our last insight sharer. And then I'll come to you for a quick introduction from all. So over to you, Kirsty.
Oh, thank you. It was interesting what Haruna was saying about websites that have been translated into Japanese. I remember when I first got my website up and running, initially it was just in Japanese, but one of the things was I was very adamant that I wanted to have someone that was Japanese who was actually translating it from English into Japanese, but making sure that it was done in the right way. And I've started translation studies, which I hope to continue next year. And so I've learned a number of things from that, and just some of the people who thought they could translate just really had no idea. So it was interesting what you were saying. But one of the things that I sort of stressed in my presentation in the first webinar was that it's not things are not right or wrong, it's just different, and that's what Victoria was alluding to before. And I remember I had a mentor in Japan, and she said to me, even if something is different in Japan, it's not right or wrong, it's just a different way of, say, looking at things. So and just briefly, what I do, I'm based in Melbourne, and I have also lived in the UK and Indonesia and Japan as well. I help mainly companies interested in going into the UK and into Japan. I've had a long interest in Japan since I was an exchange student to Japan when I was at high school. I also have taught Japanese for more than 20 years and also teach Japanese culture. I've recently done an interview with Arigato Food Tours in Japan, and they're going to be putting that on their website shortly, along with some photos that I'm going to send them. And we're looking at ways of collaborating together. So thank you. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Kirsty, and well done. Congratulations. I've just given you a little virtual round of applause there because I think it's a wonderful achievement. And thank you to all of our panelists. Your expertise and insights have been absolutely invaluable to my learning process. And I'm sure people who have tuned in, watching the recordings, joined us today and throughout the series have learnt a lot. Now, we only have a couple of minutes left, and I did want to hear from some of our guests on the call. So I'm just going to spotlight you, just give you, like, just in 10, 20 seconds, who you are, what you do, where you're from, just to give us a feel for who's in the room today. Sebastian, I'm going to go over to you straight away. So if you want to unmute as I call you, give us a quick overview of who you are. We're going to connect with you offline, and that's where the magic will happen. Over to you, Sebastian.
Sure. Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Doug, for the invitation. And sorry for being late. I'm French. I'm always late, so that's something you have to learn about French people. I'm Sebastian Barrio. I'm based in the UK, and I've not lived abroad like many of you, so I'm a bit jealous, but I was a bit lazy and shy to do the big jump. So I just crossed the channel to move from France to the UK. And I didn't go that far, you know. Again, we're lazy in France. I love people, and I crossed the channel to work for Burberry for 7 years. And I was lucky to lead global teams. So when I say global, I mean I had people in my team from Hong Kong, China, South America, the US, the UK, French people, Italian people. So I always loved that, and I always wanted to develop better my team, because I really believe that if people are engaged and happy in what they do, they will give the best for the company. And also it's what I love to do. And so I started a journey around coaching, business coaching, and as of today, I'm coaching people in SMEs in different corporations to develop their full potential. And also it's based on, you know, that 85% of people are disengaged globally, and 90% of people will face 1 or 2 burnout in their career. So I think it's not acceptable. And I'm also linked with a lady in Singapore, and we have developed an academy called the Art of Leadership Studio, where we help people to be aware of that and be the better version of themselves around leadership.
Thanks, Sebastian. Thank you. Martin, love to hear from you. Just a few seconds, if you don't mind, just to share who you are and what you're doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Katie. Yeah, my name's Martin Hamilton. Work for Menzies, which is a typical accountant in the UK, but however, I work for their international department from a compliance and taxation perspective, in terms of assisting businesses that are looking to break into the UK market, expand into over here, but also UK companies looking to expand overseas. Typically, how we help how we can help the chamber is through our HLB network, which we have over 140 accountants in over 140 countries, shall I say, that we have vetted, or HLB have vetted, and can be trusted, and we can introduce them to global chamber members. So I've been doing that since becoming a member, and members have benefited from that without having to engage in us as well. So there's ways of helping the chamber, as well as as us helping the chamber, as well as the chamber helping us. So yeah, it's great to be a part of it.
Thank you, Martin, and we love collaborating with you. And I'm going to hand over to Yael now. Just a couple of seconds, Yael, just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yael Cohen-Elias from Box on Time. I give full solutions for your important export worldwide, includes regulations. I like to be a member of the Global Chamber almost 8 months, and I just want to tell you that it works. And my client went to meet someone in Morocco, and he's going to have a very nice order for his products. I'm doing also business development for Israeli clients in terms of care products, hair care products, and smart technology, and a lot of other things. If you're interested, please feel free to connect with me and we can collaborate.
Look forward to collaborating with you, Yael. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Over to you.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm Dotan. I'm a member of the TLV Chamber in Israel. We are operating in more than 20 countries. We do international business development for industries, manufacturers that are looking to expand worldwide. We are dealing in many segments like water treatment, energy, industry, agriculture, chemicals. And today we are solving problems in the supply chain of electronic components worldwide. It will be a great pleasure to work with you all. Thank you very much, Dotan.
Thank you very much. Nice and quick. And then Yuka, I would love to hear from you. Would you like to just tell us a little bit about you?
Hi, my name is Yuka. I'm based in Barcelona, Spain. From the name, I'm obviously Japanese. What I do is I've been in the globalization industry for about 25 years or more. But I'm coming from more localization standpoint. I do lots of localization, which means digital communication, B2B SaaS product to SMBs websites. It was interesting to hear about translation, but from my point of view as a professional, translation doesn't work to sell. It makes you foundable. You need localization. This is what I sell. So if you need some digital support, I have lots of techniques and technology. So let me know.
Thank you, Yuka. Lovely to learn a bit more. Raphael, over to you. And then we have one more. Raphael, you're on mute.
Okay. Hello, I'm Raphael. I'm living in Japan actually, but I'm French and I'm working for a Japanese tea company. So actually, we are having many customers in the UK, and also we are also developing customers in Australia too. So that's why I was interested about this meeting. But yeah, because we are facing sometimes some difficulties about, especially about the organic product because of the Brexit. And so I wanted to know if there was some people that could help on that, because we are making OEM product and bulk product and everything which is related to Japanese tea. So
okay. Well, if you're wanting help from us, you put some details in the chat and we'll see how we can help you.
Okay,
thank you, Raphael. Thank you for joining us. Erica, you're lucky last. I know we're over time, but Erica, would love you just to take a minute. I know you're not feeling well, so we can't see you, but please share a bit about who you are.
Thank you. So I live in Washington State, but I'm a member of Global Chamber Phoenix with Doug. And I basically, in short, connect commercial property opportunities to people, but also if someone is relocating their business from overseas to the United States, then I'm able to help in the whole realm in terms of a location for the business, housing, a home, and things like that. So basically a consultant globally on properties, primarily commercially.
And also one of the nicest people I know in the world. So
thank
you very
you
much.
so
And on that
much.
note of the nicest person in the world, I'd just like to say thank you to you all. It has been a very interesting, informative and educational Globinar series. You know, if you are looking to connect with one another, that's what we do. We're here to help you. So please reach out off the back of today. We've got Doug on the call. Would you like to say anything, Doug, before we close?
Just so impressed with such an amazing group. Konnichiwa, Yuka. Thank you for joining us today as well. And the wisdom and the knowledge and the collective knowledge of this group, and then the global tribe in general, is so impressive and so important. I also enjoyed Haruna's concept, which I actually hadn't completely understood, the naked networking. I remember in my early days of living in Japan and going to a company vacation, actually also in Kyushu, Ziv, where we were all in our yukatas, and one of the guys decided he was going to sumo wrestle me, in front of like the whole group. And what I found out was sumo wrestling there's an art to it. and maybe this is the analogy with business, right? It doesn't take very much. Like I was just like I'm a big, tall, goofy guy, and this young man, very small and short, quickly in front of all of this group had me flailing, legs a flying in my yukata in front of the entire company. I was the managing director. A bit shocking, quite honestly, first of all, but the second piece of it was he so deftly dropped me, meaning that, I'm thinking size matters. It doesn't matter. As many of you know, and I love sumo, it's the art. There's nuance to it. And so one of the things that continually impresses me about all of you is the art and the nuance that you bring to the table. It is an art to do business across cultures. The concept of UK, Australia, and the connections there, and UK, Japan, and the similarities there is very exciting. So Katie, thank you so much for bringing us together. Let's call this a beginning, and an exciting beginning as we look to launch 10 to 12 new chapters next year in Japan with Global Chamber. So looking forward to working with you there and in Australia, in the UK, and around the world. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Doug. I think you captured that quite nicely, and I love how you share a story and bring it to life. And really, this is the beginning. And I'm mindful that we've gone well over time. I get very anxious when we do that, but I want to say thank you for sticking with us. We are looking forward to the future collaborations of this 3-part series. It's just the beginning, and I look forward to doing more with you. If you are thinking about joining Global Chamber and want to know more about how we operate as a community, this is just the surface. So I've put a link in the chat. Please click through. We have the recordings that will be coming out for the 3 parts of the series. And a big thank you to all of our panelists. It wouldn't have been successful without you. So on that note, enjoy the rest of your evening, your day, or in your case, Doug, good night.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Katie.
Oh, yes,